Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And that, my friends, is the box, the switch box that I'm going to be using for the Arcticat. So we're going to head out here to the shop and show you what I've got in progress. So, first thing we got to do is have our trunk coffee. And today what I'm doing is starting the wiring on this thing, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what I've got going on here. Now in the future what I plan to do is I've already started here, I'll just show you. I've got one light here, and they're just, the wires are in there, it's just loosely in there. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. There's a part that's going to be difficult, and that's getting the wire fished through all this plastic because there's no access to any sides or the bottom or anything. So all this open area in here is enclosed. So I have to figure out how to get this wire to go down through there to the hinge so I can make a droop for the hinge so that when the bed hinges up, it doesn't pinch the wire. And then I got to run it up through here, both sides. We're going to put one right here and one right here, red on both sides. We've got our light installed. I haven't done my 3D printed ends yet. I haven't decided how I'm going to do this yet. But for now, it's up there and it's run through the cab. Now I got to figure out how to get it from here to there. So eventually I do want to put a headliner in this, so I can't have this coming under this frame and up and over along this rod and over into the cab, because there's plenty of room up and underneath there. I can put some zip ties like I did right here, and I've just got these loosely put in, and we're going to put some wire loom cover over that, black, and we're going to zip tie that all together. So, but what I need to do is I need to keep this wire to the inside of this pipe and come up through there right there. So this has to stay below this. So, because the headliner is probably going to come pretty close to that. I don't know yet how that headliner will work. But anyway, I'm going to drill a hole right here in the back side, and then I'm going to come over here on the top side and drill another hole. This is hollow tube, so I can just run my wires up through there and bring it over here and tie it and zip tie it around and then run it over there. So I can just run it all underneath all this area right here. That box that you seen that I was printing, it's going to mount right here. And then this is the fuse box that I'm going to use. And as you can see, I took and soldered a copper wire contacting every one of those. So now every single one of these have power going to them when I turn the switch on. So I'm going to set you on the tripod here and we'll show you what we got. Well, first of all, let me show you the other light that I've got to do. I've got this light that I've got to hook up. It's going to be on a switch. The work light's going to be on a separate switch. The marker lights are going to be on a separate switch that's on the bed. And then when I get my fenders made, once I get my fenders made, I'm going to make a bracket right here that has an amber light, and then I'm going to have an amber light in the front here somewhere. Trying to trip over stuff. I'll have marker lights on the front too. So it's going to have marker lights basically like a car. So let's put you guys back here. So when I turn the switch on, I got my test light here. I'm all tangled up. Right now, I have no power. But I do when the switch comes on. So now I've got power going to every one of these. All across that. Then we have power here too, individually. This will be where I plug my each thing in. So I've got 15 amps, 20 amp fuses, and probably never use 30 amp. I can change them anytime I want to whatever I want them to be. So that will mount up beside of it. So we have this cover right now that only covers that part. Well, I'm going to 3D print one that comes out wider and covers the whole thing. So once it gets screwed up with these two screws, which will be 1032s or 1024s, probably 1020. No, I'll probably use 1032. Keep them all standard. So then I can go ahead and mount that up there once I get my box in, figure out where it's going to be. And that way all I have to do is just unscrew this. I can use the same screw in mine and hide all of it, including the wire. So there's going to be that box right here, and it's going to have 5 switch holes in it, and I've got my switches. Well guys, it's the next day, and no, actually this is 2 days later. We've been working on a switch box, and I think I showed you guys, if I put it in there, if I got the video good. I'm trying out another GoPro, and I don't know if there's any issues. So anyway, but I've already installed it all, and I just wanted to show you guys what I did. Let me find my flashlight. Here it is. I ended up printing 2 of those boxes, and I thought, well, why don't I just take and put 2 boxes there. And now I can never put any switches in that, because the fuse box that I had to put in here is inside that box, and that was just a way to hide it. But I can take and just put something over top of this. Maybe I can, once I get all these switches done, I can make a nameplate that will cover that. So it'll say what switch goes to what. Yeah, it would have been nicer if we'd have had it above or below the switch, but there ain't a whole lot of room there, and I didn't want to clutter everything. That was not taking any vision from outside the window because of your angle. So, but I'll cover that with something. I've got the switch for the backlight, the work light. I think it's right here. So we'll demonstrate. I think I got the second and third one occupied. The first one is not, I don't think, but we'll see. All right, that's the front, and that's the back. So I got the back one on the front. or the first one. It's not a whole lot of light, but it's not meant to be a whole lot of light. It's just to give you a work light, just something to show you where you're at. It's not intended to blind you. It probably would blind you. They're LEDs, so if you stood in front of them, they probably would blind you. All right, then we got the second switch, which is the front light that will blind you. The work light, we don't want it to blind. So that's the second switch. The third switch is going to be the marker lights. So when I turn that one on, I ain't done with it yet. I can't finish it until, right now, this one is empty. This one is empty. This one is used, or none of these are active. Just these two first ones are. So the way I want it, I want marker lights to be on the first one. Then the tail, or the work light. Then the visor light. Visor LED, that's what I'll probably call it. And then these two will be for whatever else I want to hook up in the future. They're already wired. The wires are just there cut off so that I have to strip them to put, hook them to whatever I'm going to hook them to. So these two are ready to go. All I got to do is just hook a wire to it and they're ready to go. So all of them is fused inside here, so you have to take these 4 screws out, take the plate off, change your fuse, put that back up. And so we're waiting for the camouflage to put here. This is going to be a trick. I'll tell you why it's going to be a trick. I'm going to move you guys over here. Because when you go to glue this piece, my ideal way of doing this, there is enough room in between this and this bar that I could get that in there. And I would like for this whole piece to be one whole piece. That's not a problem, fitting it to put it in there. You can fit it, put it in there, it'll go easy. But the moment you put glue to this side and the surface of the other, where it sticks, it stays. It creates a problem. So it's going to be a trick to get that to fish in between there. And as soon as it hits that glue right there, you're not going to slide it any further. So you're going to have to manhandle it. Hopefully you don't wrinkle it. So you got to finesse it at the same time you got to manhandle it. And you got 2 of them to go through. And up here at the top, it's kind of a tight squeeze. Down at the bottom, you got about a 1/2 inch. So it's at an angle. So I may end up doing this in 3 pieces. Just cut a piece that I can tuck in, because it's going to be heavy stuff. It's going to be fleece. Or at least I think it's what I think it is. I'm thinking it's that fluffy, fuzzy stuff. Like blankets. Fleece blanket or something like that. That's what I got. So I'm just going to cut it up and put it in here. Glue it, put spray contact 90 high strength 3M spray glue, and it's the best way to do it is to spray this side, then you spray the back of what you're putting up, and there's a tack time for it. When it gets tacky to where it sticks to your fingers, like, you can take your finger off of it, but it'll stay there. So once both of them are that way, they're at full strength. As soon as they hit, they're going to hold, and it's going to be hard to maneuver it. So you want to find yourself a good point to start with to hold it to and kind of feather it down into it in order to get that long straight to be straight. And we'll probably cut a little extra just to hang over. I was thinking about taking this camouflage and going clear to the bottom of this, which would put it behind this seat, and that would close it in a little bit better. I mean, you ain't got much of a gap right there anyway, and I could take that and fold it down. And I also want to put a gasket on the glass, so I was thinking, well, why not take the material, glue all of this and hide all the bars too, and fold it over and cut it right at the edge of the outside of the glass and glue it to the other side. Just fold it over and glue it to the other side, and then that will act as some kind of a cushion between the outside and the inside. It's not going to get wet, so I think that might work, and that'll kill two birds with one stone. And it would also act as a quietener. Do you hear that? Now it's solid. We can't have that. You know that's going to vibrate. So if I put this same fleece material on the outside, and it would actually give the glass a camouflage border. Sure, your corners are going to be at an angle with nothing there but the black bar, but who's going to notice it all that great? I think that would work. I'm going to try it. So I got to take the glass out, glue, spray this whole back. I got to take all this out and mask this off. I think. I'm going to see how good I can spray. If I get a little bit on the bars, it ain't going to hurt nothing. I can just wipe it off with some lighter fluid or something. But I'll show you the lights on the back and how I did it. I just took and pop riveted two holes here on these lights, and I did it for the side and for the rear. So now we have a tail light here, a tail light there, and also a brake light. So that's a tail and brake. So then I put the same over here on this side and pop riveted to it. There's screws underneath here. There's one right there, one right there. This one's got the broken off tit on it. So underneath this part, it's got two broken ones. So it's a little looser. So basically this is just a panel that goes around here and probably goes the whole way around the machine. So I just pulled it out far enough to where I could get the wires fished down through there, and they came out down here in the bottom. And I'll open this and show you what I mean. You can't see them wires, can you? They're there. So I drilled a hole right here, and I drilled a hole right there, ran the wire through all the way to the other side. I zip tied it to that bar all the way across. Now we'll go to the other side. This one comes down, you can see it right there. And it comes down through here, through this hole that I drilled, and that hole that I drilled, which I can't understand why they don't already have a hole in there. That would be a very useful hole. And I've pinned it up. I've got it in the original wire loom cover that went on the hot wire to the starter and the solenoid. And I didn't like it because it wasn't split, so I took it off of there, because you can't just slide it off and replace the wire. You got to take the wire and take the loom off of it. It's crazy. You can't just lift it up and cut the wire. So anyway, I had this big long length. I run it here and left a loop so that when I bring it down, it goes right with it. All right, and it worked out perfect too, the way it worked. And now I took it up over top of this because we don't want it to lay down on the muffler. So I took it over top of this, zip tied it all the way across there. It went over into this box right here, which is where I'm going to get my ground from that bolt right there. So we're going to ground the lights to here. And then the positive will then keep on going. Somehow we'll find a way to go down through there like we did the other wires and come up, and we've got to come out up here so that we can take advantage of this bracket because it's got holes, 3 of them in it. So that took advantage of that to use it as a way to hold wires. So I can bring that wire up and bring it the same way as this, bring it up, follow that one, and end up coming up. It's a lot of fishing too. And then come up through here, through the dash. And it goes up through this loom here. And I've got it zip tied to it. And it looks fairly okay. I could think of better ways to make that look. It don't look good, but it is at least uniform. Pretty straight. So let's see what it looks like from the outside. It looks like it's got some water channels in it somewhere up there. We got some AC in it. That's what we'll tell people. But I got my parking brake fixed. As you can see, the light is on. Now it's off. And that was because I had to take that switch right there out of it. I'll get my light here and show you. That switch right there, that little needle that arm is hitting up against, well, as soon as that arm is removed, that pin comes out with a spring. I had to rebuild that switch. I had to put a new spring in it. I took it clear apart, and I love this switch because it was able to do that. Because all I needed to do was clean up the contacts, put a new spring in it because the spring was so rusted, it fell apart in like 5 different pieces. So I just went into my spring box and found a spring to fit it and put it in there, and it works like a charm. So you see that the light is off, means the brake ain't on. So now you can see it went away from the pin. Now if I push on that pin, the same thing will happen. I had more trouble trying to get that clip to clip back on than anything. You have to have it lined up just perfect to get it to snap into place. But anyway, I've probably done bored you guys enough. You guys probably ready to go watch another boring video. But everything works good. There's no wires pinching. It looks good. And I see another problem that I'm going to have to try to address. For some reason, this thing's got awfully long tailgate stops. It lets the tailgate go down until it's at that angle instead of straight with the bed. So somebody's either replaced those things with something longer that come off of a different one, but that drives me nuts. So I may have to do some cable work. I don't know where the hell you'd get those in. I don't even know if I can get those. If I could get the ends off of those, I could probably shorten them. with some silver solder or something. But do I want to trust soldering to, let's say I put a 50-pound piece of metal on the tailgate, is it going to break? Anyway, oh look, I took advantage of a bad spot. I still got to paint the Buffalo white or beige, but that's my logo. And the one that was on here for the Arcticat, all it was just white. The sun had baked it to where it was just nothing there but white. So I just covered it up with two-sided tape on the back side of this, or glued, I contact cemented it on there, and put my logo in it, and it's straight with where the wheel's supposed to be. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, guys? Let's get a close up. Anyway, I hope you all get some ideas on how to do your all's side by side. I know sometimes it's difficult to find out how to do something and see a different way of doing something before it clicks. You know, something might click on you when you see something I've done. So it's supposed to be to help the world, right? Anyway, I think the fenders is going to be the last damn thing. I'm debating on whether I even want to put fenders on it. All I need is just a piece right here to deflect it from coming on me. I don't think I would get a whole lot of mud on top of the hood. Might get it on the bottom of the hood. But this thing ain't never going to see mud like that unless it's going across my flooded freaking yard. But never know, I might float down the stream. Or it might sink to the bottom. I'm putting a lot of weight on this thing. Steel bracket for the windshield. I want to let the seats be the last thing, so I'm going to wait until I get this on before I put them seats back in it, because every single time I move them seats out, big chunks about that big falls out of it, foam. And it's just so dry that you can just sit there and crush it really easy. So I'll get some of it and let you see. If I didn't sweep it up. Yep, I swept it up. But yeah, them seats ain't impressing me. I gave an awful lot for them seats, man, because they did look like good seats. I guess I learned something. I learned what to check on. See how long they've been sitting, because those seats apparently have been in a very dry atmosphere, and the dryness around it was sucking the moisture out of it, so it had no exuberance anymore. It was just drying it out to the point where it's doing what God meant for everything to do, and that's to go back to the earth. So, vicious cycle, ain't it? We're going to be a part of that cycle. I hope I don't have to wait too damn long. Anyway, I still got to do some blowing stuff off here. I've got where I was drilling all them holes up there today. I got metal shavings all across the dash. I got to blow all that stuff back out. And it's a workout. Now I got it in my hat, and this is not stuff you want aluminum chips to get stuck in, because you'll have them everywhere and you can't get them to stay out. You got to work to get them off. You can't just brush them off. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Later.